Are you tired of having shoulders that don't stand out from the rest of your body? Today I'm gonna lay out exactly what you need to do to grow big, wide, popping delts. First thing up that you wanna do if you want your shoulders to grow, you gotta train them 2, sometimes, for some people, maybe 3 times a week. And you're gonna hear training shoulders 3 times a week and being, man, that's way too much volume. But what you gotta realize is I'm gonna take all the volume I would normally do on my shoulder day. Let's say if that's for me 21 to 24 sets of shoulders, and instead of doing 21 to 24 sets on one day, I'm gonna divide that by 2 or 3 days, whatever it may be, and spread that across the week. So you're stimulating your shoulders to grow every 2 or 3 days, because again, they're a smaller muscle group, they can rest and recover a little quicker than those larger muscle groups. So what that's gonna look like for me is gonna be on Tuesday after I train back, I'm gonna do a little bit of rear delt. On Thursday after I train chest, I'm gonna do a little bit of side and front delt, since they've both been working to help me push all those weights, and vice versa with the back day when I did all that pulling, my rear delts were working. And then I'm gonna come on Saturday and I'm gonna have my quote unquote shoulder day, and it's not gonna be a ton of volume, it's just gonna be finish off what I did earlier in the week. But on Saturday I'm gonna do some more laterals, some more bent laterals, some more rear delts, some front raises, wherever it may be, and just finish off a well-rounded shoulder week. So that's the first step I would say to anybody I'm telling to grow, who wants to grow their shoulders better. Train shoulders more than once a week. 2 to 3 times a week is key. You have to have immaculate form when you're training your shoulders. So shoulders are a small muscle group, meaning that once your form starts breaking down and you start swinging stuff around, all the other major muscle groups around it are gonna start helping it do the exercise. So I'm gonna show you what I mean by doing some laterals here. Let me get the right weights. So laterals, people butcher these all the time, and so what I mean by your form breaking down and everything else trying to help is right here. All that's really working is my traps, momentum, everything else. So shoulders, again, you gotta make sure the form's immaculate. So what we wanna do if we're doing a lateral, slow down, pick smaller weight, flex my lats, my wrist is leading my elbows straight out. Nothing swinging. I'm making sure that tension is on that shoulder and not my traps, my lats, anything else. Same thing if you're doing a bent over lateral, make sure we're not doing swinging back and letting everything but the shoulders work. Arms bent straight, slightly bent, kicking back, let my elbows leave my wrists out, just like the laterals. That's step number 1 if you want to have big shoulders. Fix your form, make sure it's immaculate, and all of your shoulders are doing the work. That's no matter if you're doing upright rows, shoulder press, no matter what it is, fix your form. The next thing you want to do is get rid of heavy dumbbell shoulder pressing. This is still something I see a lot of young guys, even older guys doing, is heavy shoulder pressing because they think that's what's going to make their shoulders grow. And it may when you first start training. When you first start training, anything is going to make your shoulders grow. And also a lot of people are seeing Nick Walker, these big pro bodybuilders doing heavy shoulder pressing, not realizing those guys are genetic freaks. They're going to grow no matter what they do. So you got to stop taking their advice and stop doing what you're doing when you're younger. Stop heavy dumbbell shoulder pressing. What you want to do if you're going to shoulder press, do like I do, is cut the weight down, go moderate weight, and do higher reps with it, or work it as part of a superset, meaning you can do it superset with laterals, superset with bent laterals, whatever it may be. Work at higher volume in supersets where you don't have to use such heavy weight and really straighten your shoulder joints. And you can do machine shoulder presses, dumbbell presses, barbell presses. There's no wrong press. You just got to make sure you're doing it with the correct weight so that you're targeting your shoulders and not necessarily tearing your shoulder joints up. Next up, this is probably one of the biggest things that took me a long time to realize with shoulders is you need to train them with higher volume and higher reps. So scientifically or anecdotally, whatever you want to say, everybody's always been taught the best bodybuilding rep range is 8 to 12. That may be true when you're training things like quads, hamstrings, back, chest. That's generally true when you train those body parts, but I've found when it comes to smaller muscle groups like arms, shoulders, wherever it may be, smaller muscle groups really need higher rep ranges. So anything from 12 to 20, sometimes even 30 reps if you're doing rear delts seem to work best for shoulders. And even though we're working higher reps, that doesn't mean you can't take it to failure. I get people always in my comments saying, well, how can you take 20 reps to failure? They're misequating higher reps with not taking anything to failure. They're just thinking it's junk volume. You can still work higher rep ranges and take it to failure, and that's what shoulders respond best to. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have tons of videos on my channel on how to grow your shoulders, biceps, triceps, back. I got everything on there, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Next up, on what I can guarantee will grow your shoulders, you gotta work them with intensity. So this is true for every body part. You gotta work those body parts with intensity, but this is especially true with those shoulders. Some good ways to boost intensity on shoulder training would be drop sets. So let's say you're doing lateral raises. If you want to do a drop set or a lateral raise after your 3rd set of 10 to 12 reps, let's say I was doing the 30s, I would cut that weight, I would hit 10 to 12, drop the weight to 20s, immediately do 10 to 12 more, and then maybe even do a double drop set where I cut the weight to 10 to 15 pounds and do 10 to 12 more. So that's drop sets. Another thing you do is partial reps. So let's say I'm coming back on those lateral raises. I really like laterals. So let's say I'm coming back on a different day, I'm doing lateral raises. I'm gonna do 12 to 15, I'm gonna take that set to failure. I'm gonna push it hard to failure, then I'm gonna come out the bottom and just work partial reps and really just push that intensity, push them past that failure point. Another good thing you can do, and I do this all the time with my shoulder training, is supersets. So that's working one exercise and immediately going into another exercise. So this is what I mentioned earlier with shoulder pressing. I really like to superset my shoulder pressing with another exercise. So let's say I'm gonna do a chest supported bent over rear delt fly. I'm gonna work that maybe 12 to 20 reps, and then I'm dumping those weights and immediately going into maybe a machine shoulder press, dumbbell press, whatever it may be. I'm really keeping the intensity high by not letting those shoulders break. I'm switching exercises, but the shoulders are not breaking. The last thing I really like to do to keep the intensity high on shoulders is pick one exercise per shoulder day and do a 50 rep set. So what that would look like is, let's say I'm doing a front raise. I'm gonna pick a weight that's hard for me to do 12 to 15 reps with. I'm gonna work 12 to 15 reps, set the weight down, count 20 seconds, pick that rep count up from wherever I stopped at. So let's say I stopped at 15, I'm gonna pick it up from 15, do another 12 reps, hit failure, set that weight down and rest for another 20 seconds. I'm gonna keep hitting reps to failure and resting for 20 seconds until I hit 50 reps. And that set is done. You do that one time through and that's done. Again, those are all great ways to keep the intensity high in your shoulders. There's probably way more things that I'm missing, but those are 4 things I like to do all the time. Now that I've given you all the keys you need to grow your shoulders, I'm gonna go ahead and leave you with what I consider one of the best shoulder days I've ever done, and I'm kind of still throwing in from time to time. So what I start with is I'm gonna work those rear delts first. And keep in mind, this is done on what I call my main shoulder day. Again, I'm working shoulders twice a week right now, so this is my main shoulder day. So what I'm starting off with is my rear delts. I'm gonna do a chest supported rear delt fly, and then I'm gonna superset that right into a band pull apart for about 20 to 30 reps. And that's gonna light those rear delts up. Next, I'm gonna move into my side lat, or my side delts. I'm gonna work, just like we talked about, on the drop set, I'm gonna work my lateral raise drop set. So I'm basically doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps, back to back to back, really crushing those lateral raises. After that, I'm gonna move into my front delts. I'm gonna do an incline dumbbell front raise, 10 to 12 reps, and then I'm going right into either a machine shoulder press or a dumbbell shoulder press, 10 to 12 reps, and that's really gonna smoke my front delts. And then to finish everything off, bring everything full circle, I'm gonna do a dumbbell 6-way raise. That's gonna hit all 3 heads of my shoulder, and I'm gonna finish off to my shoulder day and really make sure I got healthy shoulders with a spider crawl. That's gonna light up my rear delts, side delts, it's work everything on my shoulder joint, but also keep my shoulder joints healthy. There you have it, what I consider the blueprint for growing your shoulders. It's not hard to follow, it's just a matter of following those things as strict as you can, as consistently as you can for 3 to 4 months. If you follow everything laid out in this video for 3 to 4 months, I promise you your shoulders are gonna be bigger and wider in no time. If you like this video, guys, and you wanna see more, subscribe to the channel. As always, stay swole.